So a Ponzi scheme starts like this. You come to me, I tell you I have some kind of Ponzi scheme going, or I have a business opportunity for you, right? Is how I present it to you. And if you give me $100, in 90 days, I'm going to give you 150. Now, that's ridiculous, but okay. So you're like, wow, if I give you $100, what if I gave you $1,000? Could you do the same deal? And I say, sure. And then you go, well, but if I give you $10,000, could you give me back 15 in 90 days? And then, of course, and I say, sure. Okay. This is how Ponzi schemes start, right? And it starts with this ridiculous return. Now, there's more subtle Ponzi schemes that exist, and most of them are called the banking system now. And it's because, oh, well, those returns are ridiculous. 50% returns in 90 days, that's just absurd. No one can do something like that. I would argue that even a 2% return on an annualized basis, nobody can do that. Not for a long enough. I mean, you could do it for a while. You can get away with it for many decades, probably even, possibly centuries. But eventually that math is going to catch up with you, and it works just fine. Again, like we talked about before, if your population is always growing, you can pull that off. When your population stops growing, because of the greed of the average person, not my corporations. My commie followers have got to stop this. The giant corporations are a reflection of a lot of the people. A lot of people have become really greedy. So don't give people a pass on this. I don't. No, this is like everybody down to your average run-of-the-mill boomer that wants $600,000 for a house that he paid 50 grand for. Okay, this phenomena exists everywhere. Okay, now you could say like, well, but that's inflation. Yeah, where do you think the money came from to pay all these ridiculous returns? They just inflated it, right? Okay, but enough about BRICS. We'll talk about that later on. And the U.S. dollar. This question comes from Australia, so let me answer this because this is right on topic actually. He talks about how the employers are mandated to take out 12%. Even God only wants 10. Apparently they want 12%. And then it's going to go into this super fund. What they call I guess it's what they call it over there. A super fund in the States means that there was a giant chemical spill and we have to clean it up. But a super fund in other countries apparently means that it's basically just like a hedge fund or a mutual fund or a fund of a fund. Or like what Peter Lynch talked about years ago, in his book, I think he called it the fund house, where it was funds of funds of funds of funds of. I mean, it's just ridiculous, right? It's just Ponzi scheme upon Ponzi scheme upon Ponzi scheme, to make it look like there's all these returns, and there really isn't any way to do any of this stuff. Again, math suggests otherwise. So, what he points out is that the money goes in there, and then what should I? Because he asked what should I do with the money that I put into this system. This is a tough question, and I don't know your specific situation, so I might have a different opinion of what someone would do here in the States. I can't necessarily speak to that. I can tell you that once again, hard money is going to be probably the best bet long term, in my opinion, and that's going to be because the math cannot keep up with all of this. See, these companies that are giving these returns. Let me talk about the stock market in general, okay? Because this applies to all countries now, all English-speaking countries, actually every country at this point, because they've all figured out they can do this. At a certain point, there is no more profitability for these companies. Most of these companies are zombie companies now, and we've heard that phrase a few times, right? Peter Sejnage and a few others have said it. I have been saying it for many years, along with many other economists. And yeah, these zombie companies, these are businesses that aren't even profitable anymore and haven't been for a very long time in some cases. Well, what do you do with these companies? You just keep printing money and keeping them afloat. Because if they all collapse, right, if they all collapse, well, then everybody's out all their money, right? The giant Ponzi scheme collapses. And make no mistake, that's exactly what this is. It's just a massive, massive Ponzi scheme. And when it collapses, it will take pretty much everybody down with it. It's like I don't have any good news on this one. I'm sorry, I just don't. Take that back. The good news is that you know about this right now. Now, if you want to hang out a little longer on the boat and try and figure out how you can make more money off of it, good luck. But just keep in mind, you run the risk of getting sucked in with everything else. You know, that's just how it is. Like, it's just gravity, dude. So, yeah, my suggestion to anybody is, if you want just a personal thought. This is not a suggestion. This is just my personal thought. So if you're just wondering what my personal, like, what's my strategy, is to move as far away as I can, you know, realistically, in the practicable sense. Okay, I mean, obviously you can't move to the middle of nowhere, right? You have to be able to still function, but, you know, would be to move away and focus more of your life on what you're doing, and just expect a lot of this to go away. You know, a lot of this delusional behavior and everything. In other words, try to be out of the way when this finally does hit, you know, when this finally does hit, when it finally does just collapse, all of it, and it'll take down all the currencies. It'll take down the dollar, it'll take down the yuan, it'll take all of them, okay, and the rupee, all of it. It'll just take all of it. When that happens, okay, the end, in other words, the end of fiat currency, the end of Ponzi schemes, when that happens, try to be away from it, which is actually a help to everybody else around you. And how that's a help is that you're not in their way, right? It's sort of like there was a blogger or a video blogger named Styx Hexenhammer. You should follow him. He's actually a pretty cool account. And a long time ago, he was talking about the idea of, you know, Convid, when Convid, you know, prior to Convid. So like this was, I was actually following his work like prior to all of this. And one of the things that he brought up, which was a very sound advice, and it's one that I would have said too. It's what I would have, and I agreed with him on this. I couldn't. There's nothing I could take away from that other than just agreement. Like, yeah, you're right. Is that even if this is all fake, even if this is all just a big con, even if this is all just total crap, which it turns out it was, but like, let's say it wasn't, right? But even if that was the case, when a bunch of people start to panic and run to the grocery store, right, to buy everything in sight, the goal that you should have is to not be in that panic, so that way it's easier for everybody else. You're actually, in a way, helping everybody by you not being there too. Okay? I mean, does that kind of make sense? So, you know, I mean, that's just it. I mean, like, there's nothing glamorous about what I'm suggesting. There's no giant windfall profits. There's no Lambos in what I'm talking about. There's none of that. Okay? I mean, it's like understanding that sometimes the best strategy is to back away and build a community, if you can, with people away from all of the situation. That way you can help, right? Then you are able to actually help later on when people really truly need it. Not this. I mean, like, I hope that answers your question.